Hello, everybody, and welcome to another This Week in Star Wars Unlimited. And we've got a lot of ground to cover today as we are creeping ever closer to the March 14th release date for Jump to Lightspeed, which really at the day of recording, is roughly 3 weeks away. So FFG was definitely in high gear this week on their draft stream that they did, which I'll link below. But we did get revealed 2 new leaders, 4 new bases, and 45 new units, events, and upgrades. And so we're currently sitting at about 183 total cards reviewed for Jump to Lightspeed. So we're getting pretty close. But let's jump into what was revealed this week. And starting off with our leaders as we do each week, we've got Kazuda Zeno, if I'm saying that correctly. He's a hero cunning 4-cost 2/5 unit or 3/3 pilot. His non-deployed action reads, a friendly unit loses all abilities for this round. Take an extra action after this one. This will be very interesting how that plays out. And then when he is deployed, it says, on attack, choose any number of friendly units. They lose all abilities for this round. And that's if he's deployed as a unit. If you attach him as a pilot, it says attached unit is a leader unit, which means now you can't use any removal or any of those kind of like specific, non-leader unit attack cards. And it gains on attack, choose any number of friendly units. They lose all abilities for this round. So this losing of abilities is obviously his mechanic, whether he's a pilot or just a ground unit. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And next up, we got Major Von Reg. Villain aggression, 4-cost 2/5 unit or 3/3 pilot, and more than likely you're going to want him as a pilot, as you'll see here in some other slides. His non-deployed says action, play a vehicle from your hand. If you do, give another unit +1 attack for this phase. Now, if you deploy him as a unit, there's no special words on its card. He's just basically a straight up 2/5. But if he's deployed as a pilot, it says attached unit is a leader unit. It gains on attack. You may give another unit in this arena +1 for this phase. Now, again, I think more than likely you're going to want to use him as a unit, but he does have a TIE interceptor spoiler that's coming. That's even going to be more beneficial if you attach him as a pilot. Moving on to the bases, we got 4 bases this week. We got 1 rare and 3 commons. Probably the most interesting one is this Lake Country rare non-aspect 34-point base. I'm not quite sure why you would use this base. I'm trying to think about it. Maybe it's a Twin Sun thing. I don't play Twin Sun, but I'm just trying to figure out, why you would go with a non-aspect. Yeah, the 4 health is pretty nice, but that's a pretty heavy trade-off. But then for the other 3 bases, we basically got the aggression, the cunning, and the command, all 30-point bases, kind of the, just the standard, aspect bases. But I am glad to see we finally have Mos Eisley making appearance. It is the most well-known spaceport in the galaxy.
Mos Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Now, starting off with our aspect cards, we'll start with aggro. We're starting off with Relentless Fire Spray, so our 3rd Fire Spray unit in the game. This is a double aggression 6-cost 4/6 space, and it says on attack, ready this unit and use this ability only once each round. Next, we have Twin Laser Turret. It's an aggression 2-cost 2/2 upgrade, and it has to be attached to a vehicle unit, and it says attached unit gains on attack, deal 1 damage to each of up to 2 units in this arena. Next, we got Shadowcaster, aggression 6-cost 4/7 space unit. When a friendly unit is defeated, you may use all of its when defeated abilities again. So maybe we see some Thrawn aggression in here, kind of double dipping and triple dipping on these when defeated effects. We have the ATDP Occupier. It's an aggression 4-cost 3/4 unit. And its card reads, this unit costs 1 less resource to play for each damaged ground unit. So potentially you might be able to get this guy out for free. And it does have Overwhelm as its keyword. We have Rebellious Hammerhead, hero aggression, 6-cost 5/7 space unit. It says when played, you may deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards in your hand. So that could be pretty spicy. Late game, maybe you're going up against control, or you're just holding on to a lot of cards. So that could do some extra damage. Continuing with aggro, we've got Determined Recruit. This is a aggression 2-cost 3/1 unit or pilot with no, keywords or anything. Just, you can use them as on the ground or as a pilot. And we got Von Reg's TIE Interceptor, and this goes back to what I was saying about this leader unit. He's a villain aggression, or this unit's a villain aggression, 3-cost 3/4 space unit, but it's got a lot of words on the card. The first one says, while this unit has 4 or more power, it gains Overwhelm. So it has 3 by default. Remember, Von Reg gives +3, so he'd be potentially sitting at 6 if you don't even get any other buffs on him, or even just another pilot, like maybe this Determined Recruit. But the next line says, while this unit has 6 or more power, it gains Raid 1. So you could potentially, if you get the leader on here, you've got Overwhelm, you've got +1 raids. So he's hitting for 7. So 3 + 3 + 1. More than likely, you're going to want to get a Von Reg on this ship. Next, they hate that ship, which is a great line from the sequel trilogy. Hero aggression, 1-cost event. And it says an opponent creates 2 TIE Fighter tokens and readies them. Then play a vehicle unit from your hand. It costs 3 less. So just a good way to kind of cheat out a unit. Those TIE Fighters, they're going to be 1/1 units. So pretty easy to take off the board to, get something out that costs 3 less. Next, we got System Shock, which is an aggression 1-cost event, which I think will probably see some decent amount of play. It says defeat a non-leader upgrade attached to a unit if you do deal 1 damage to that unit. So this will be some really good upgrade hate, both for just regular upgrades, but more than likely all those pilot upgrades we're about to see and jump to Lightspeed. Next, we'll move on to the blue cards, or Vigilance. First, we got Power from Pain. It's a villain Vigilance 3-cost event. It says give a unit +1 attack for this phase for each damage on it. We have Silver Angel, a Vigilance 2-cost 2/3 space unit. When 1 or more damage is healed from this unit, you may deal 1 damage to a space unit. Maybe this would be good with like Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan can heal units, every round. Echo Base Engineer, Hero Vigilance 2-cost 2/3. When played, you may give a shield token to a damaged vehicle unit. Wingguard Security Team, Vigilance 6-cost 4/4. It has the Sentinel keyword. And then it says, when played, give a shield token to each of up to 2 fringe units, which means when you play this one, you could potentially give him a shield token. So now you've got a 4/4 Sentinel with a shield just to soak up some damage. And then lastly on this slide, we've got Out the Airlock. It's a Vigilance 5-cost event, and it's basically another removal. I mean, yeah, you might use it later in the game to reduce some heavy hitter units, but you're giving a unit -5/-5 for this phase. So just some good removal, or at the very least, some very strong debuff. And then we've got 2 more Vigilance cards. We have Annihilator, which is a villain Vigilance 11-cost 12/12 space unit, and it reads, when played, when defeated, you may defeat an enemy unit. If you do, search its controller's deck in hand for each card with that unit's name and discard them. So you're going to start, going through and maybe looking for Luke's, or looking for Vader's, or just looking for the Cad Bane, those high impact cards that you don't want folks to be running. Devastator, I don't know, but like this could be potentially nasty in a Thrawn deck, or basically any control blue-black variant. And then lastly, we've got an L3 card, Hero Vigilance 3-cost 3/3 unit or pilot. And it reads, if this unit would be defeated, you may instead attach her as an upgrade to a friendly vehicle unit without a pilot on it. She's no longer a unit and defeat all upgrades and remove all of her damage. So get her out on the field at first as for a ground unit, swing at the base, swing at opponents, do some damage, but then get her mounted basically over as a pilot for that +3/+3. So that's pretty cool. I like that mechanic. For command cards, we've got Executor, which is another legendary capital ship. Villain Command, 11-cost 12/12 space unit with Overwhelm. and it reads, when played on attack and when defeated, create 3 TIE Fighter tokens. So basically you're going to get some good board swarm with the Executor. We have Salvage, Command, 0 cost event. It says play a vehicle unit from your discard pile, paying its costs, and then dealing 1 damage to it. And then we've got Luke Skywalker in the Snowspeeder from Hoth. It's a hero command, 2 costs, 3/2 unit or pilot, so one or the other. And it says if this upgrade would be defeated, you may instead move him to the ground arena as a unit and exhaust him. So more than likely you are going to deploy him as a pilot because you're going to get multiple uses out of him. Once he's defeated on the vehicle he's on, get him on the ground, basically out there with his lightsaber slicing up some AT-ATs. We've got Scramble the Fighters next, which is a villain command 7 cost event. It says create 8 TIE Fighter tokens and ready them. They can't attack bases for this phase. I was been thinking about this one, maybe really good for some exploit decks, like get 8 TIE Fighters out and if you've got an exploit hand, or if you're playing Dooku, might be pretty cool. I mean, obviously if they come in exhausted, if you can keep them up next round, you've got 8 damage there with 8 health across the board, but probably going to be interesting to see how this gets used. Maybe I think in an exploit deck. And finally, we've got Dogfight, command 1 cost event. It says attack with a unit, even if it's exhausted. That unit can't attack bases for this attack. That's pretty cool. Continuing with command cards, we got Dorsal Turret. It's a command 1 cost upgrade. It says attached to a vehicle unit. It says attach unit gains when this unit deals combat damage to a unit while attacking. Defeat that unit. That's pretty nasty. Adept Arc 170. It's a command 4 cost 3/4 space with restore 2. We have Air Superiority, command 2 cost event. If you control more space units than your opponent, deal 4 damage to a ground unit that opponent controls. And then lastly on this slide, we've got Timely Reinforcements. It's a command 5 cost event. It reads, choose an opponent. For every 2 resources they control, create an X-Wing token and give it Sentinel for this phase. I kind of view this as maybe not as strong, but a cheaper U-Wing reinforcement. Play this out, maybe they've got 6 resources and you're going to get 3 X-Wings, basically 2 units with Sentinel out on the field or out on the board. So that'd be pretty cool to see how that plays out. Again, I'm just kind of viewing it as a cheaper U-Wing reinforcement. On the Cunning cards, we've got Contracted Hunter. It's a Cunning 3 cost 4/4 unit with ambush, but it reads when the regroup phase starts, defeat this unit. Next, we've got Fireball, Hero Cunning 2 cost 3/3 space unit with ambush. When the regroup phase starts, deal 1 damage to this unit. Razor Crest is a Cunning 4 cost 3/5 space unit. So our second Razor Crest in the game. It says when a pilot attaches to this unit, you may return a non-leader unit that costs 2 or less, or an exhausted non-leader unit that costs 4 or less to its owner's hand. So basically, we're going to get some bounce with the Razor Crest as long as you can get a pilot on this unit. We've got Commence Patrol, Hero Cunning 1 cost event. It says put another card in a discard pile on the bottom of its owner's deck if you do create an X-Wing token. Contracted Jump Master. It's a villain Cunning 3 cost 2/4 space with the Sentinel keyword. Continuing on with Cunning, we've got In Depth to Crimson Dawn, and I just really like the artwork here. He's just looking really great. It says villain Cunning 2 cost upgrade. When attached unit readies, exhaust it unless its controller pays 2 resources. So just a good way to get an upgrade on your opponent's hand and slow them down for those tempo decks. We have Super Heavy Ion Cannon. It's a Cunning 2 costs 0/3 upgrade. So basically you're getting 3 extra health on your unit. It says attached to a capital ship or transport. So you're going to be a little narrow or a little focused on where you can put this. But it says attached unit gains. On attack, you may exhaust a non-leader unit the defending player controls. If you do, deal indirect damage equal to its power to that player. So this will be some pretty interesting, like, aha, I got you, put it on your enemy's hand for an upgrade, and then see how that goes out. We've got Punch It, Cunning 1 cost event, attack with a vehicle unit. It gets +2 for this attack. So basically another, sneak attack or quick buff damage. Rafa Martez, Cunning 3 cost 3/3 unit, and it says when played on attack, deal 1 damage to a friendly unit and ready your resource. And then hopefully I'm going to say this one right. Kimogilia, heavy fighter, Cunning 4 cost 3/4 space. When played, deal 3 indirect damage to a player, exhaust each unit damaged this way. So just some good tempo decks that way. Sidon Ethano. It's a Cunning 2 cost 2/2 unit. And again, this is another kind of cool trickery card, hence being in Cunning. It says when played as a unit, you may attach this unit as an upgrade to an enemy vehicle unit without a pilot on it. And then when you do that, they get -2/-2. So again, potentially some removal, or at least at the very least a debuff of an enemy vehicle unit. And then kind of wrapping everything up here, we've got the single aspect or basic aspect cards, which we didn't get a lot this week. We got Rogue Class Starfighter. It's a villain 4 cost 4/3 space unit with Sentinel. We got Flanking Fang Fighter, which is a basic 3 cost 2/3 space unit. And it says while you control another fighter unit, this unit gains raid 2. So really, hopefully you've got at least a 4/3 on the board, at least attacking. You've got Hopeful Volunteer, Hero 2 cost 1/3 unit or pilot. So just some more, some generic cheaper pilots to use in your builds. Death Star Plans, a basic 2 cost upgrade. And this has got some pretty fun wording on it too. It says when attached unit is attacked, the attacking player takes in control of this upgrade and attaches it to a unit they control. Attached unit gains the first unit you play each round, costs 2 resources less. So you're going to play it, stick it on your enemy or on your opponent. Hopefully that, that opponent or that unit doesn't die. You attack it, you pull it back, and now you're going to, play your next unit for 2 resources less. So just some kind of fun back and forth. And the other thing I want to say about this card is I really just am digging the artwork. You've got the Rebel, I forgot their titles, but the Rebel security pilot or whatever, handing the cards to the door. And if you look in the window, you can see Vader standing there in the background with obviously the red glow of his lightsaber. And then finally, really wrapping up, there were 3 specific cards that I wanted to give a little bit of honorable mentions or just spend a little extra time on, besides going through them in their regular aspect colors. And the first being this new legendary Darth Vader unit. It's a villain aggression 6 cost 7/7 unit. So some really good stat lines, or a 3 cost 3/3 pilot. And more than likely you are going to want to play this as a pilot, because when you read it, it says when it's as a pilot, it says attached unit gains on attack. You may deal 1 damage to a unit. If a unit is defeated this way, you may deal 1 damage to a unit or base. So you're just for 3 cost +3/+3, or even if you get it on, on Von Reg's type, that TIE interceptor we talked about, just a great way to just dish out some damage. Vader just bringing the heat as always, as the Vader units seem to do. The next one I want to talk about was this Jam Communications. And now it might not look all that great. I mean, it's a Hero Cunning 1 cost event. And it reads, look at an opponent's hand and discard an event from it. This is just another great cheap hand hate card for 1 cost. Ideally, you could potentially play 2 of these in your first round if you wanted to. Now, granted, you're only going to be able to remove events from somebody's hand, but you think of like this cheaper, got Sparkle Rebellion, you got Bodhi Rooks, you've got Kira. There's just another great, it's a rare, but 1 cost way to just pull some events out of folks' hands. Or you think about later game control, take out the super laser blasts or whatever. But I think Jam Communications, I think this card will see a lot of play. And then finally, War Juggernaut. It's an aggression 6 cost 3/7 unit. And it doesn't look, just let the look at it, it doesn't look all that great. It says this unit gets +1 for each damage on it. So it's basically kind of getting some grit. But it says when played, deal 1 damage to each of any numbered units. And so this comes to why I'm calling this card out, is you think about the recent meta or the current meta in Star Wars Unlimited, and it's a heavy hitter is Jango, right? Where Jango can tap down folks. And this will be a great replacement for those Jango Tarkin Town decks, probably popping out the Persuader tank and putting this in. just for better tap down with that for that win played. Because when you think of when Django is actually out on the table and deployed, so not when he's in his undeployed, but his deployed state, his card reads, when a friendly unit deals damage to an enemy unit, you may exhaust that unit. So you think about, potentially turn 5, you've got your board state out, and assuming you're going up against a Django, they drop this war juggernaut on the ground. Actually, it says any number of units, so it could be ground or space. They ping all of these units with 1 damage, and then Django's effect comes in and basically exhausts your whole board. Because on the deployed side for Django, it doesn't mention a limit of how many units you can exhaust. It just says exhaust the unit. So this could be super nasty in a Django deck. I'm assuming we will see a lot of this as long as Django can still stay relevant in the meta, which I'm pretty sure he will. This war juggernaut is just going to be really nasty. But that wraps up the video for this week. As always, I want to thank you for watching. This was a little bit of a longer one just by the sheer number of cards. So if you made it to the end, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, or just say I made it to the end in the comments sections below. Any sort of interaction always helps the channel or helps the videos. But until the next time, I hope you have a great day.